Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming, listening to us. I've got three special people here to introduce to you guys. Monica Paul, Executive Director with the Dallas Sports Commission, who has been the driving force behind Dallas being selected as one of the host cities, where we will host 9 games total, correct, Monica?
Correct.
And then we've got Robert Ciccotelli.
Ciccotelli.
Okay. Director of Corporate Relations and Volunteer Programs at the Perot Museum and Nature of Science. Robert brings a unique perspective on how institutions like the Perot Museum are preparing to engage with the influx of global visitors and local residents through education, corporate partnership, and volunteerism in the World Cup. And then I have Mike.
Yep.
Mike, last name?
Spiewak.
Spiewak.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to.
No, you're good.
Mike also comes with the Perot Museum of Nature Science. So I'm going to go get started right with the questions immediately because this will be lengthy, and I'm sure everybody wants to hear what Monica has to say, what Robert and Mike have to say as well. Dallas is a host city, Monica, okay? What was the strategy behind bringing the World Cup to DFW?
Well, the World Cup is the largest sporting event in the world, so we had hosted in 1994, and still today, when I go out and speak, and it could be on many different types of events that we're always looking to attract to the Dallas and DFW area, people always have stories of what they remember from 1994. 94 was the largest World Cup to date in terms of ticket sales. People still talk about the Brazil-Netherlands game that took shape at the Cotton Bowl. And I think just through that alone, you can see the importance of the sport of soccer, what it meant to Dallas, and what the World Cup brings from a cultural standpoint. With the economic impact, the number of visitors that are going to be here, to always continue to position yourself as a global sports destination is something that's important from a sports commission standpoint, and you can't get any bigger than the World Cup. So it was important for us to put our best foot forward from the very beginning. Many people find this interesting, maybe, that this bid process has been started in 2017. For me, I feel like it started in 2009 and 2010 when the bid for the 2018 and 2022 World Cup came out. We were unsuccessful in it going to Qatar and Russia, but it gave us a good foundation as we were able to prepare for this 2026 World Cup.
Nice. And Robert, from your vantage point, as someone deeply involved in the community engagement, what does this event mean for the cultural institutions like the Perot Museum?
I think it's a little bit of a twofold answer. I think just to Monica's point with the influx in visitors that are coming to North Texas, it puts a lens on all of the great cultural institutions in Dallas and what we're doing in the community. Yes, from a visitation standpoint is always important as more people get to go to the museum, explore one of the great many levels there. But then on the flip side of that, our community programs that we currently do that are focused on underserved communities, we can make a bigger impact with more people coming in, and then even just from a national recognition and a national, international level, that you never know when that next STEM leader can appear by coming to the museum or coming to one of the cultural institutions in North Texas. So I think it just puts a great lens on what we're doing in the community and be able to expand on that.
Oh, nice. Monica, what kind of economic impact is the World Cup expected to generate for the Dallas area, from hotels, transportation, to local businesses? If you can give us some insight.
Yeah, actually, we have the 9 matches, most of any other host city out there. For those of you who don't know, there are 3 countries that are hosting this World Cup, 2 cities in Canada, 3 cities in Mexico, and then 11 in the United States. And when we started bidding on this back in 2017, we anticipated maybe hosting 4 or 5 matches. So the fact that we're hosting 9 is a whole lot different planning process than what we originally intended. And when we started that bid process, the United Bid Committee did a study for all different types of scenarios for World Cup, and the economic impact projection was about $400 million. Well, obviously the plan has changed. We have 9 matches. We have 6 base camp locations. We are the International Broadcast Center will be located here, which is an additional 4,000 to 5,000 different broadcasters and media that will be staying for a very extended amount of time. That broadcast center will open up at towards the end of May and run all the way through July 20th, 21st. Add on the FIFA Fan Festival, which we're looking to do a 39-day FIFA Fan Festival out at Fair Park. And there are a lot of people that come to the World Cup just to come to a World Cup host city that don't even have tickets, you know, and that, you know, 54% of our visitors that we should anticipate, including non-ticketed, are international visitors. 54%, that's pretty high. You have about a 9.7-day stay period here in the United States, or what people were anticipating. So FIFA actually did a study for each of the host cities, so with Deloitte, to verify the data and provide some updated projections. And it came back that in the DFW area, they're projecting $1.5 to $2.1 billion in economic impact.
Oh, wow, that's quite a bit.
Oh,
Lots of
this
money coming in.
by far will be the largest event, I think, that the DFW area has seen.
Nice. And Mike, how is the Perot Museum preparing to be part of the World Cup experience?
Yes, so the museum is actually, since the early announcements of the World Cup coming, actually has reached out to partners in Mexico City at a museum there as well to co-develop an exhibition. I think, speaking with some other folks, it's amazing that how much soccer actually brings folks together. And if I can get the slide, my first slide up. So how much soccer, oops, it is up, sorry. How much actually soccer brings together everyone. It is kind of a unifier. And so for us, we found a way to kind of work with actually the Economic Interactive Museum in Mexico City to co-develop an experience that we really want to think that showcases soccer, but soccer more than a game, which is what we're calling it. So in a way that it's not just the players on the field, it is far more than that. So as we look at that exhibit, we're looking here in Dallas of building a 10,000 square foot exhibit that will run from March all the way through September to really be a place, an air-conditioned place. We were joking before that there's going to be fan zones outside, but will be an air-conditioned place that allows for really folks to come and experience more than just the players in the field, but all the different activities that surround it, whether that's food scientists, whether that's the material sciences that come up with lighter fabrics, or shoe designers. So this is just a really quick peek that we're showing in terms of how that experience will feel when they come to the museum, which is just, if you're not familiar with Dallas, we're just right next door to downtown Dallas. So it is a big concrete cube that sits right off the Woodall Rogers Freeway. But for us, it is to get people right off the bat to feel like, I want to be part of this team and understand what that team is. So we'll start in a locker room and allow you to kind of start your experience in a locker room to see how you're going to be part of that team. And then do a variety of experiences. And we're also looking at this from not just the physical aspects of it, as we said before, but even things like sustainability are important in our messaging. Because as a museum of nature and science, we focus on really the nature part is very important to the messaging that we put out there. So there'll be things like here looking at how stadiums are built sustainably now, which is far different than they used to be looked at. So the ability to design your own Legos, using Legos to design your own stadium, and then actually use some AI technology to scan it to create a fantastic image of what they might look like, but as well as to tell the stories and the history of the game. Again, because as we see it, it's that ability to bring all these people together. No matter what country you're coming from, is you know the game. But I think for us is finding ways to make you realize that it's more than that team or that jersey you may wear, but there are all these other people behind it in the science and the world that actually make the games possible, make the players be able to do the things they do. And so this is just a quick kind of overview of that experiences that we'll be having here. So from some very small things to some very big digital activities that'll be in the museum during that 6-month run. It has been a great partnership with the museum in Mexico City as we try to find ways to make those connections that it's been interesting because it really is. There's things we talk about that we think are important to our audience that are just as important to the audience in Mexico City, which isn't always the case when museums work together internationally.
Nice, very nice. Monica, what opportunities are being created for small businesses, minority-owned business companies, and local organizations to be involved?
Very good question. Actually, we just launched a North Texas Business Connect program a couple of months ago for businesses who are interested for products, services, et cetera. Not only from an organizing committee standpoint, but we've been working on this World Cup for a few years, and FIFA hasn't sent out a lot of RFPs yet, nor have they from their vendors or agencies that they're working with. But we are anticipating that as we get a little bit closer to that 1 year out. So we wanted to be able to connect and collect some of that information, so when we do receive that, which any that we have received goes on our DallasFWC26.com website, but that we have easy communication tool to be able to do that. So we're also working with a lot of the minority supplier agencies and certification agencies, the city's procurement services. FIFA, we've just been told, will also be creating the Business Connect type of platform so that they can get their opportunities out. Over the last few weeks, many of FIFA's commercial partners have just identified which markets they're going to be in. So didn't say how long they're going to be in our market, but at least which host cities that they'll be activating in. So we do anticipate, whether it's the hospitality providers, the other ancillary events, promotional items, those types of things, that we're going to start to get some communication from them, so that we'll be able to get that out. In addition, we have working groups across the board, from safety to security to transportation, one specifically on sustainability, human rights, legacy programs that we're trying to put together, the different items that are needed throughout the region, not only from a soccer focus, but other infrastructure and programs that by hosting the World Cup, maybe there's additional leave behind. So there's a lot of ways that people can be involved there. And then in August, by the end of August, our volunteer recruitment should start. So we're going to need a lot of volunteers to ensure that we're successful here. FIFA needs specific volunteers. We as a host city will need specific volunteers as well, and that'll be, we'll be standing up a volunteer center that is available all the way from November all the way through the end of July. It'll be open, and then of course, people always want to know, how can I get tickets?
Exactly.
We do have ticket packages, suite packages, venue series, as well as some lounge packages. Pretty much every two weeks or a monthly period right now, On Location, who is FIFA's hospitality partner, unveils additional opportunities. So there'll be some select opportunities also for the Fan Festival. So that is a free event, all 39 days. But there's some other ways to kind of get involved as well.
Okay, nice, especially the ticket part. Those will be out. I know you've been asked lots of questions in reference to that.
If you want some tickets, please come see me. I can sell you some tickets without a problem.
There you go, everyone. Robert, will cultural institutions be working together to create an immersive experience for visitors, perhaps museum collaborations? I know y'all had mentioned that shortly, or citywide activations?
Yeah, so the short answer is yes. We are working with the Dallas Arts District. We're a proud member of that. And we are talking about collaborating on not just during the World Cup itself, but prior and after that as well. So those details are still in flux of exactly what we're doing, but I know, for example, the Perot has agreed to be one of the tentpole events during the World Cup to host a large-scale event from a community and cultural aspect. So we're still talking about exactly what we'll do, but yes, there will be some opportunities with across the board, whether it's the opera, Broadway, the Perot Museum, the Arboretum, the zoo. So I think there's a lot of exciting stuff still on the horizon.
Nice. And then your role right now, overseeing volunteer programs, okay, what kinds of opportunities might there be for residents to get involved, whether it's going to be at the museum or just a broader city initiative?
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, Dallas itself and North Texas, the folks who are here are so charitable with their time. It's amazing how every day we have more and more volunteers coming. Now, I won't speak to everyone across the board from the cultural institution, but I know there's a ton of organizations that you can volunteer at. But from the Perot side, we're fortunate enough to have both a individual, corporate, group, teen program across the board that allows our volunteers to come and help with STEM education inside the museum, helping on the floors, whether that's at our bio lab, our challenge lab with engineering or medical-based activities. So we look at it as enhancing the guest experience and enhancing that next generation of STEM leaders to potentially inspire them at an event.
Okay, nice. Monica, I know you had mentioned the volunteer opportunities that will be available, which will start in November. Are there plans for job fairs or workforce development tied to the World Cup? These are paid positions for especially for students, young professionals looking to get into sports that they might be able to do?
Yeah, so I think there's various ways. We work from a sports commission standpoint with a lot of our universities and sports management programs already, and how can they be engaged in many of the 70 to 85 events a year that we are already partner with or host. So we would love to continue that and kind of expand that. This is a once in a generation opportunity for these kids to get experience. I used to teach at SMU, so continuing to pass it down and opportunities to those kids is important to me. FIFA will actually have workforce that they are hiring people here in each of the host cities markets. So they have opened up a headquarter office in Miami, but then we'll be hiring specific people to work in each of the host cities. They're really focused on the Club World Cup right now, so some of the hiring in the Dallas area hasn't taken effect yet, but we anticipate those people to start coming on in July and August. We've actually opened our Dallas FIFA World Cup offices in downtown in Founders Square. Is where we're kind of officing, and we'll combine with that FIFA staff as well. And sometimes some of the opportunities that FIFA has that may be what we may traditionally consider a volunteer type of role, they're looking at it as a workforce opportunity. So whether it's FIFA themselves or some of their agencies, their hospitality partners, they will be looking for staffing as we get a little bit closer, paid types of positions. They'll still be the traditional type of volunteer role. FIFA is really, in this World Cup, is really responsible as the organizing committee for the entire event. So what they've asked us to do is really focus on our city-specific roles, meaning what is that experience when people arrive at the airports? How can we, unroll and unveil our Texas hospitality, which we're very well known for here, and ensure that they have a seamless experience from arrival at the airport to transport to their hotels, getting around the region from an informational standpoint, but then also how can we focus on key areas within the city and within the region that we know that are just normal, where people congregate a lot. We know that there are going to be additional watch parties and fan viewing events outside of the fan festival, the 39 Fan Festival that we're doing. We know there's going to be a lot of commercial partner activity, and when you bring people in to do those events, that it increases the workforce demand as well. I think we're seeing some development that's taking place on the transportation side. You think about the number of buses that are going to be utilized and the drivers that are going to be needed and those types of things. So we're trying to look at it holistically.
Okay, nice. Now let's look at the vision for the future, and I've got a question for all three of you. What long-term impact do you three hope this event has, not just on our economy, but on our identity as a global sports and cultural hub?
Wow. I think, as a soccer football fan myself, I do think, individually, I hope that it actually has a great uptake in terms of the acceptance and the playing of the sport in the States. I know that there was that big in '94, right after that, there was a big growth there. Just as a soccer fan, it's hard to not want to be watching the same levels we're seeing, let's say, in the Premier League. I do think for the museum standpoint, I think it, again, as Robert touched on, is the opportunity to have this many people travel from around the world to North Texas. It gives the museum a position to really deliver some messaging that's really important to us. And obviously we hope that the soccer exhibit is a way to bring them in the door, but to also see things where we talk about in the museum that tie very closely to the mission of EarthX, about sustainability, about the differences that we can make as individuals and as STEM, especially as STEM relates to sustainability, is to allow that to hopefully kind of spark some imagination, spark some interest where they didn't know that they would be inspired by.
Nice.
Yeah.
Robert?
I'll obviously echo what Mike said, but I think one of the key things that I like to highlight is the experience that Monica and her team are going to do for this World Cup is going to be out of this world. As the museum, I think we are just lucky to be able to add on from the educational side too, right? All of the obviously exhibition that Mike's doing, but all of our community programs can really hopefully impact the next generation, which will obviously continue to grow here because STEM jobs are coming here rapidly as well. So I think it's just such a unique opportunity that it's really once in a lifetime.
Monica.
How much time do I have to answer this? This one is, for those of you who don't know, my other half of my job outside of World Cup is leading our sports commission, which our main focus is to bring sporting events into the city and into the region that have economic impact. So as I said at the beginning, there's nothing bigger than a World Cup. So first and foremost, I think the economic impact and the continuing to position Dallas as a premier sports destination. But the global opportunity here is something that we don't often get. We've hosted major events, but the number of international guests that will be arriving, I think, is extremely important to us to continue to elevate our profile on a global standpoint, but the ability to impact businesses moving here, or people moving here, them coming back just from a straight tourism play later on. It's not just about the economic impact of the event while it's here, but it's how do we really benefit from a long-term play. There's no secret, if you've heard me speak before, that I want to continue to host major events here, and no, I won't be necessarily in this position when we're hosting the next Men's World Cup, but right around the corner we have the opportunity to host a Women's World Cup, since that Women's World Cup will be here in 2031 in the United States, that is. We are still in a bid process amongst other host cities, and as a woman, there would be no greater honor than to really follow this up. This Men's World Cup in 26 with a Women's World Cup, but then also continue to, whether it's World Rugby opportunities in 2031, Women's World Rugby 2033. So it's really, for me, continuing to grow that. But one of the other key pillars for us in any major event that we host is really the legacy component. And how can we, through hosting this event, leave our city, our region, our programs in a better place than they were before, or key learnings across the board, and we're doing a lot of learning with even other host cities. And it could take many shapes and forms. A lot of people were like, okay, we're talking youth sports. How can we leave the sport of soccer on a youth grassroots level in a better place? In 1994, the MLS was developed and created outside, that was the legacy of hosting the World Cup in 1994. And when I think youth sports here, the sport has grown so much, and it continues to. Over 4 years ago, we did an assessment of just Fort Worth, Arlington, Frisco, and Dallas through their Parks and Rec department, based on your demand of people playing the sport of soccer. How many soccer fields short are you? 4 years ago, with just 4 cities out of the 133, I think that in Corpus, DFW, we were 150 soccer fields short. I said, so I'm sure that number is crazy, right? Now, I'm being realistic that through the World Cup, we're not going to necessarily be able to provide 150 soccer fields, full-fledged soccer fields, but there are ways through this World Cup, through, yes, fundraising, donors, key partnerships with some of the FIFA's commercial partners, that we can help to maybe mini-pitch, provide access in underserved areas, equipment, coaching education, those types of things, and that's how we'll be able to grow the sport. I think the legacy of increasing access and opportunity to women, and we just added a professional women's soccer team here this past fall, continuing to help them improve and elevate to get us through 2031. But then there are also legacy elements as it pertains to human rights efforts, sustainability efforts. We have working groups in each one of those. Our human rights working group has over 350 stakeholders that are looking at things for unsheltered population, homelessness, LGBTQ rights, migrant worker rights. I'm sure I'm forgetting human trafficking elements and sex trafficking that goes along with it. And then you go to sustainability. There's probably over 150 stakeholders in their working group looking at, air pollution, carbon recovery, food recovery, emissions. How can we utilize better transportation methods that are more electric in nature rather than gas powered? And what are ways through our Fan Fest? What types of equipment are we using? even how we're serving our food, et cetera. So a lot of work that's going into that, and I consider that really all to be legacy.
Oh, nice, nice. So we have a couple of minutes, and I'm going to open up for any questions that y'all may have for the panel. Anybody have questions?
Oh, no.
During the World Cup. I think you told me one time, and I want to make sure I'm saying
Well,
the right number.
yes, it kind of depends. I kind of shy away from this question a little bit, John, just because it somewhat depends on what happens in the draw. So the draw will take place first, second week of December. So that at that point we'll know kind of how many or what teams are playing in our group stage matches. Right now we're projecting about 100,000 people a day. Now, we'll have a lot more people that are staying here long-term, knowing that broadcast, the 5,000 media and broadcasters and staff that'll be opening, the International Broadcast Center is open 24/7 from basically, give or take, May 24th and 25th all the way in through July. But then, based on the capacity and numbers that we're seeing that'll be at AT&T Stadium, plus, a fan festival, our fan festival will be at one time, capacity is probably 35,000, 40,000, but in Qatar, as the pass-through in one day, their largest day was 99,000 people. In Russia, their largest capacity day for fan festival was 166,000 people. So they don't come there and necessarily stay there all day, but it's a flow. So easily, I think we have the 100,000 visitors, and because we are a key destination in terms of the different layers that we have here that other host cities don't, and our central location, our access to DFW International, Dallas Love Field, and the ability to get to both countries, Canada and Mexico easily, as well as East and West Coast in the United States.
A couple million?
Oh yeah, for sure, yes.
Hello, Ken Johnson here. Just a quick question. We had the Copa America happened with all the incidents with the Argentina-Colombia game, people coming in through the duct vents and things like that. How are we planning to, to avoid that with so many spectators that we're going to have in our city?
Great question. So we have a safety and security working group. There are 18 different focus areas under that safety and security working group and expert planning teams across the region. We've been working for about a year and a half now with those. They meet on a monthly basis and have other subcommittees underneath them. In the FIFA framework of safety security, that Copa America match that you're referring to has been studied, shared with the entire safety security working groups, things put into place that can curb that being able to happen. We've never seen that type of level out at AT&T Stadium before, so I'm really hoping that doesn't happen here, but I think there's some lessons learned and that opens some eyes. We also have data that based off of who might be playing and the different matchups and the different travel patterns and fan behaviors of different countries. That information has been shared with our safety and security team as well to try to see, hey, we may have higher risk here compared to maybe during this match, and there will be extended perimeter at AT&T Stadium, much more like if you've seen kind of a Super Bowl footprint, so it's not going to be normal like you just drive up to AT&T and park in lot 1 or lot 5 or something like that. Those aren't going to be available to the general public anyway, so this is going to be a much more extended perimeter. And in coordination, not just with our local public, but our state and our federal agencies are heavily involved in all of the host cities.
We have room for one more question. Anybody wants? Nope. Okay. That'll conclude our discussion. Yeah. So, thank you very much, Monica.
Thank you.
Mike, Robert.